just to take you through a couple of these major blunders that led to the conclusions that higher debt to GDP ratios, or in particular 90% debt to GDP ratios, are deadly for the economy. Well, first, there was something called, there was selective exclusion. And so that Reinhart-Rogoff, essentially, there were many years, they looked at 1946 to 2009, but they just decided that they weren't going to look at 1946 to 1950 in certain countries. So, for instance, they excluded Australia, 1946 to 1950, New Zealand, 1946 to 1949, and Canada, 1946 to 1950. And they found that, and as a result, their rate of growth was much lower. Their Excel error was that they averaged a certain number of cells that excluded many different countries, including many countries where there was higher growth in that period, such as Denmark, Canada, Belgium, Austria, and Australia. That would have changed their calculations. And then, of course, there was the matter of the weighting. And so the United Kingdom, which had actually relatively high growth when it had for the 19 years, it had higher than 90% debt to GDP ratio, was weighted the same amount as New Zealand, which only had 1 year where that was the case and had a much lower growth rate during that period. And so, of course, Reinhart-Rogoff, they're claiming that this still doesn't, the gist of their conclusion remains the same, but that's not the point. The point is that there are elites in this economy, folks that benefit through much lower inflation than is good for employment because they have lots of financial assets, folks who just like the morality of this tale. They think that debt is evil and they want to purge us of that, who will seize on anything, including intellectually shoddy work. And now we have the glaring case of Reinhart-Rogoff and the basic scholarship mistakes that were made in that to show that hesitate a little bit before you accept these people's conclusions wholesale. We've got a great segment coming up next. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the events in Boston when Take Action News continues after this.